What's up, everybody? All right. Happy Saturday. Hopefully it's a good one, however you're spending it. It's a great day for college football, if anybody's into that. Got a beautiful game earlier between Miami and Louisville. Cam Ward, man. That's all I'll say about that. Alabama, Tennessee now, Texas, Georgia later. A lot of good matchups in college football today. Love that. Playoff baseball as well, if you're interested in that. Maybe not. However you're spending this Saturday, hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's enjoyable. We got start, sit, help today for week 7. Uh-oh, I'm getting a connection is unstable message. Hopefully that improves. My Wi-Fi is literally right here, so there shouldn't be any reason why I'm having any problems. If you guys do have any connection issues, or if you are seeing me having any connection issues, just let me know. But my Wi-Fi is literally right behind this laptop, so hopefully there are no issues and this thing holds up for week 7. Start, sit, help. I'll go through the latest injury reports that we have that might help clear up a question or two, and then we'll get into the questions. What's going on, Derek? What's going on, Nino? Good to see you guys. I always got to give a special shout out to my members. Those are the folks that are help keeping the lights on around here. Their questions will be answered in priority order. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get your questions responded to out of order. So if you're interested in becoming a member of the channel, if you like what you see here, all that good stuff, and you are interested in maybe supporting, those details can be found in the first link in the description of this live stream and all the videos and streams on the channel. We'll quickly run through injuries, and then we'll get into it. As far as the details that we have as of today. Mike Evans was on the injury report for Monday night, but he has officially been removed from the injury report, so we are moving forward with him with confidence on Monday Night Football. No issues with Mike Evans in your starting lineup in a great matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers are planning to start Russell Wilson, but they will also utilize Justin Fields. This is disgusting. The Steelers are officially on some college football level shit with their offense right now. Don't start Russell Wilson. I guess unless you have him in deep superflex leagues. You can't start Justin Fields. I guess he's going to be in some wildcat role. Rather avoid that situation altogether. Najee Harris is fine to fire up because they'll continue to run the ball regardless. George Pickens is incredibly dicey given this situation. Marvin Harrison cleared concussion protocol way sooner than expected. So, number one, happy that he's all good sooner than later. And number 2, he will play on Monday night against the Chargers. I believe that game is streaming exclusively on ESPN+. But Marvin Harrison Jr. will play Monday night against L.A. Nick Chubb officially activated to the 53-man roster and will make his 2024 debut. Hats off to Nick Chubb. Applause all the way around. Hopefully he can come back immediately and kill it. Jerome Ford will miss this game, so Chubb will have extended opportunities, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a good amount of Donta Foreman as Chubb works his way back into the lineup. I am not firing Nick Chubb up this week unless it is an extreme desperation play. Hopefully you can avoid that. While Mike Evans is not listed on the injury report, Rachaad White will be listed on the injury report. He is questionable for Monday night with a foot injury. I'm sure you are all well aware. And remember, at this point, Rachaad White missed the Week 6 matchup against the New Orleans Saints, and Bucky Irving, and maybe more specifically Sean Tucker, proceeded to go ballistic. Now we have a situation developing where if Rachaad White plays, if we are to believe what the coaching staff has told us all week, Rachaad White will get a series, Sean Tucker will get a series, Bucky Irving will get a series, and they'll just end up riding the hot hand. I do not want to play a single one of these backs. One of them might do well for fantasy purposes. Two of them might do well for fantasy purposes. I highly doubt if all three play that all three will do well for fantasy purposes. I would rather not try to solve that mystery, crack that case, and figure out that headache. I am benching all three of them until I see what a three-headed monster backfield looks like. This is a worst-case scenario for fantasy purposes. Avoid the Bucs running backs unless you have no other options. So let me know what you're working with there. I would pivot off of the Bucs running backs, though. If Rachaad White is out, then that makes Bucky and Sean Tucker a little bit more enticing, but they don't play until Monday night, and in all likelihood, you have better alternate options playing on Sunday that we can just go with and hope for the best there. I would rather avoid that backfield if we can. TJ Hawkinson will not make his NFL debut, or his 2024 NFL debut, for Week 7. He was downgraded to out as he continues to work his way back from the injury he suffered late last year. Kenneth Walker has been downgraded with an illness to questionable for Week 7. It's not an injury, so I'm not panicking on that. Walker is still in your starting lineup. The Seahawks play. Are they in the late window, like the 4:05 East or 4:25 East start time? No, they're on the road against Atlanta at 1:00. So you're going to know early whether or not Walker's able to play, and you'll have your full arsenal of options to pivot to if Walker is not able to go. However, you are firing him up with the expectation that he plays as of right now. Mason Rudolph will start at quarterback for the Titans. I believe Will Levis picked up an injury. This isn't just like necessarily injury related or performance related. However, it's fair to wonder if Levis deserves to, continue to start. This is a boost for Calvin Ridley as far as I'm concerned. His floor is still very meh. But as a low-end wide receiver 3 with a little bit of upside just because he's a really good player, you could fire up Calvin Ridley with a little bit more confidence. I think at this point, Mason Rudolph isn't – I don't know if he's better than Will Levis, but he's not worse than Will Levis. Those are the most up-to-date pieces of information that we have. Just a couple of rapid-fire things from yesterday. Tua Tagovailoa is set to practice next week with expectations that he returns Week 8. Hopefully you listened and held your Dolphins if you had them. Hopefully you bought low if you didn't. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane are all about to get their ceilings back, assuming Tua is able to come back fully healthy. Quentin Johnson didn't practice yesterday, but Ladd McConkey did. So Ladd is looking good from a volume perspective Monday night against Arizona. Zamir White is questionable for Week 7. You're not firing him up even if he goes. Ricky Pearsall will make his season debut. Kudos to Ricky after the tumultuous end of the offseason that he had to deal with through no fault of his own. We're not firing him up. He's a stash in pretty much dynasty leagues only at this moment in time. But good to see Ricky being able to get on the field Week 7. Jordan Mason, not on the injury report. You are firing him up as a tried and true RB1. Jawan Jennings ruled out, so you figure Ricky Pearsall will take those opportunities, but Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, all in the mix with their regular expected involvement. So, again, Pearsall remains a stash at best. Specifically in Dynasty. Amari Cooper will play after getting traded. We knew Devontae Adams was going to play this week pretty early. It was up in the air initially if Amari Cooper would make his Bills debut the same week that he got traded. It turns out he will. It might be in a limited capacity, but this is Amari Cooper that we're talking about potentially soaking up. Even if it's 50% of what we expect from him, I'm firing up Amari Cooper. This is a trade that rejuvenates Josh Allen. This is a trade that obviously just rejuvenates Cooper. He gets away from the worst quarterback in the league and now gets to catch passes from one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So I'm firing up Amari Cooper even if we have to lower expectations this week. And then the big one, this has caused a lot of traction on the channel this week because I put out a video about picking up Tyler Goodson. Hopefully you were able to grab him at least as running back depth. But Jonathan Taylor will miss a third straight week after suffering a high ankle sprain. I was calling BS on the mild. They were originally calling it mild. I don't know if anybody caught me. After that happened, I've never heard of a mild high ankle sprain. I've just heard of high ankle sprains with a 4 to 6 weeks likely absence. We're now in week 3, so I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor missed week 8 as well. That makes Trey Sermon, to me, a boring RB2 in this matchup against Miami. Favorable matchup with Anthony Richardson coming back. You figure this boosts the game, the run game. So perfectly fine with firing up Trey Sermon, even though he is a boring, plodding, not very good player, but 18 carries last week is 18 carries. I think he will get enough volume to come through with at least a floor play in a beatable matchup tomorrow. And Tyler Goodson in PPR leagues is absolutely viable. He has looked like the better running back for Indianapolis. He still may be in the change of pace role, but in PPR leagues, he's absolutely viable. He's looked like the better player. But with Sermon healthy and off the injury report, we got to lower expectations a little bit. Travis Etienne, questionable. We'll monitor that. Tank Bigsby is fine to fire up as an RB3. Josh Downs, Alec Pierce listed questionable. We're lowering expectations for the Colts pass catchers until Anthony Richardson can show any type of consistency throwing the football. And Brian Robinson is listed questionable for week 7. We're firing him up if he goes. We're not worried about Brian Robinson on the injury report. We've seen him battle through injuries in the past, as recently as last week. All right, I think those are the quick injury updates, so I can get to questions now. I also see I have a super already from Don. Thank you so much, Don. Appreciate that very much. And then again, a special shout out to my members. So I will get to you guys, Derek, Nino. I see Jake in here, and then Don with the very generous super. Very kind of you. Those will get priority responses, members of the channel. And if you are feeling generous enough to send a super, you will get your answers or your questions answered out of line, out of order, so to speak. And then I will get to everybody else. You don't have to become a member or send a super to get your questions answered, but I do ask for some patience as I work through the quote unquote paying customers, so to speak. But appreciate everybody's patience in advance. Hopefully everyone's having a good Saturday. Let's get some dubs tomorrow. Really quickly, I will go in order of I see Derek's question. I see Nino's question. I see Don's super, very kind of you. I will get to that. And then I will get to that. And then I'll get to everybody else. Let's kick it off. Any changes to your roster, Derek? Allen, no. Gibbs, Monty, no. Wilson, Reed, keep him in. Kincaid, keep him in. Higgins, keep him in. Yeah, all of this is fine. I have a little bit of trepidation with Garrett Wilson now that Davante Adams is in the mix. Do I like Deontay over Garrett Wilson with Davante Adams in the mix? I think I might. I think I actually prefer that. I actually might say that, Derek. If Deontay is healthy, I might put him in over Garrett Wilson until I see what the target breakdown is between Wilson and Adams. Adams commands wide receiver 1 target share. Wilson does as well. Now they cannibalize each other. Deontay has the wide receiver 1 target share to himself. If he's healthy, I think I actually would put Deontay in your starting lineup over Garrett Wilson. Not Jaden Reed, but I would put Deontay in over Garrett Wilson, and I would leave Higgins in over Garrett Wilson as well. So, yeah, I would make that change. I would put Deontay in over Wilson, assuming he goes. If Deontay can't play, then you can leave Wilson in, but I would put Deontay in over Garrett Wilson. I might honestly put Achane in over Wilson, but it's fine to have him out of the lineup for one more week until Tua comes back. Yeah, Derek, I would put Deontay in. Not over Higgins. I would put Deontay in over Garrett Wilson. We need to see how this breakdown shakes out before we feel confident about Garrett Wilson as a slam dunk wide receiver 1. You're getting a panic meter on James Cook, Nino. I mean, you can flip him for Dobbins if you prefer. If you prefer Dobbins, that's fine. Gus Edwards is on injured reserve, and it's been Dobbins' backfield since the jump anyway. So even when Gus Edwards comes back, Dobbins will continue would think to operate as the RB1, the team's RB1, and he's playing incredibly well on a run-first offense. So, yeah, sure, yes, try flipping him for Dobbins. I think I would rather have Dobbins. Dobbins is past his bye week. Cook's bye week is, I think, like week 12 or so for the Bills. So, you still have that bye week to contend with. Week 12, yeah. Meanwhile, Dobbins is past his bye week, so he's a set and forget RB2 with RB1 upside depending on the matchup any given week. Yeah, that's fine, Nino. I'm good with that. Yeah, sure. I would try to flip him for Dobbins, and if you can get Dobbins plus, then it's a no-brainer. Yes. I would try to do that, Nino. Don, thank you again for the super. And yes, Nino, I do gamble, and 50 yards does feel low for Garrett Wilson. But that being said, I would bet that's fine to bet on, but I'm not sure I want to bet on him in my starting lineup right now. Not until I see what this breakdown looks like with Devontae Adams. I'll play a guy like Deontay over Garrett Wilson for this week. Don needs to pick in Dynasty 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, Addison, Ramondre, Chuba, Tracy. Okay, Bigsby got a lot of options. I would not, first of all, play Gibson even if Ramondre Stevenson is ruled out tomorrow. We just haven't seen enough from Antonio Gibson, even in a great matchup, for me to feel good about him. He's an RB3 at best, even if he's the starter all to himself. If Ramondre plays, you need 2 running backs. So between Ramondre, we have Chuba. Chuba's a no-brainer, Don. Chuba's one of your running backs. He's locked and loaded. Jonathan Brooks isn't making his NFL debut yet. It's a beautiful matchup against Washington. Are they at home? I should know this. I'm streaming Andy Dalton in a 12-team league. No, they're on the road. Washington. Okay, that's fine. I don't feel that badly about that. It's a plus matchup. It's a good matchup, and Chuba's been cooking. So Chuba's, I think, is a locked-in guy. He's locked-in status until Jonathan Brooks comes back, and even after a couple weeks of him coming back, until we see what that breakdown looks like, Chuba is a locked-in running back option for you every week. So I'm playing Chuba as one of your running backs. It's pretty much between the other options as far as your RB2. If Ramondre is healthy, is activated for the London game against Jacksonville, I think that's where you have to go. The matchup is so good. Jacksonville's defense stinks. Was that this week they traded one of their defensive tackles to Seattle, or was that last week? Either way, they're already giving up. So I would say Chuba locked in as one running back. And I would say if Ramondre plays, then he's your other running back. If Ramondre is out, then it comes for me to Tracy or Bigsby. If Travis Etienne is out in the London game, if Ramondre and Travis Etienne are both out, then I would play Bigsby in the London game. If Ramondre is out but Etienne is in, then I would play Tracy as your RB2. So in order, Don, I would go Chuba, Ramondre, Bigsby, Tracy. Chuba, no-brainer, slam dunk. Ramondre, if he's healthy, if he's active, if he's in this matchup, he's in my lineup. If Ramondre is out and Travis Etienne is out, I will play Bigsby as my RB2. If Ramondre is out and Travis Etienne is in, I'll play Tracy as my RB2 over Bigsby. Because I'm not scared of the Eagles' defense right now. They're not playing particularly well. So those are your running backs. Your third wide receiver between Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Addison. Kind of like Brian Thomas. I kind of like Brian Thomas. I do like Addison as well because that's right. It's a good matchup. It's a good matchup for him against Detroit. The Lions secondary is a gettable one. I think I would play Brian Thomas. He just missed a possibility for a long bomb for a score last week. I think Lawrence underthrew him. So maybe that course corrects tomorrow. They've stayed in London. The Jaguars stayed in London. So there's no like travel concerns this week, right? Their body clocks are a little bit more like normalized to the to London time. So I think I would go Brian Thomas as my third wide receiver. And then your flex, it's all dependent upon who's in and who's out. It's all dependent upon who's in and who's out tomorrow for your flex. Like, if Ramondre plays and ETN is out, put Bigsby in your flex. If ETN is in and Ramondre is in, I would probably put Addison in my flex because again, it's a good matchup for Addison. And in half PPR, I don't mind, certainly don't mind going to a wide receiver, especially the Vikings coming off their bye week. I know I feel like I'm like ignoring Goodson here. I like Goodson. He's a good player. He's an efficient player. I think with Sermon in there in this matchup, where I think they'll run the ball a little bit more than they maybe throw the ball, Goodson is a little less viable. So he's kind of off the radar for me, given your other options. And we're probably not going to know Kenneth Walker's status until after the London game kicks off. So I have a hard time suggesting Charbonnet. And I'm not suggesting Gibson, even if Ramondre is out. So Brian Thomas, wide receiver 3. Chuba is one of your running back spots. Ramondre is your second running back spot if he's in. Bigsby is your running back if Ramondre is out and ETN is out. Bigsby is your flex if Ramondre is in and ETN is out. Tracy's your flex if Ramondre is out and ETN is in. No, Addison is your flex if Ramondre is out. Yeah. You got a lot of moving parts here, Don. And I appreciate the super. I hope this all makes sense. But I would say Brian Thomas for sure. Chuba and Ramondre if they're active. Bigsby if ETN is out, get him in. If Ramondre is out and ETN is in, Tracy as your RB2 and Addison as your flex. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you need me to go over any of that again, Don. Appreciate the super, very kind of you. Happy to talk shop on that again. But Brian Thomas and Chuba are locked in for me. And then the rest are all dependent upon who's in and who's out. So obviously, just keep tabs on the availability of the other guys that your players are impacted by as far as their injury status. Appreciate that, Don. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Yeah, just keep tabs. Keep tabs on injury statuses. All things equal, if I could rank them, if they're all healthy, assuming they're all active, if they're all healthy and all in, I would say Chuba, Brian Thomas, Ramondre, Addison, Bigsby, Tracy, in that order. I like them all, but their effectiveness and fantasy appeal is a little bit dependent upon who's available and who's not. Appreciate it, Don. Thank you for the supers. Nino, if you can get Dobbins and Wandale for James Cook, smash accept. 100% smash accept. I love that return for you. I love that return. 100%. Make that happen. And let me start starring these comments so that you guys know where I'm. Again, for anybody just coming in, welcome. Appreciate y'all coming in. I got to get to my members and anybody who's feeling generous enough to send a super. I'll get to those questions first, and then I will get to everybody else. I just ask for some patience. And if you guys are enjoying the dialogue, the conversation, all that stuff, whether you're a member or not, I just ask that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Appreciate that in advance. Full PPR. You're a decent favorite, Jake. Richardson or Fields? You're starting Richardson because Fields is not going to start. Like, maybe he gets in there as like some type of wildcat option for the Steelers. I'm not playing either quarterback. I'm not playing Russ. I'm not playing Fields. And I honestly am like very concerned about George Pickens. He's good enough to come through on any given play, but this quarterback situation is I don't like playing musical chairs. This is like some college gimmicky stuff. No disrespect to college. There's a lot of good college football on today, like I said earlier. And then start 2 between Wandale, Juju, and is that Christian Watson? I would play Wandale and I would probably play Wandale and Christian Watson just because Juju is on the injury report with a hamstring injury. What is Juju's latest? What is Juju's latest status? Juju expected to play. Yeah, but he's not getting 7 catches for 130 yards again, not against San Francisco, coming off of a hamstring injury that he picked up this week. I would rather play Watson, especially if Wicks has to miss this game. What is Dontavian Wicks' status as it pertains to Christian Watson? He's questionable. Yeah, I'd rather play Watson. Give me Wandale. I don't care that Neighbors is back. Wandale was 5th in the NFL in targets with a healthy Malik Neighbors. Nothing scary about the Eagles secondary. I'll play Wandale, especially in full PPR. Watson, obviously, he's not going to come through with volume, but he can come through with a big play. So give me Christian Watson over Juju. I don't trust Juju to replicate the week that he had last week against San Francisco, not after picking up a hamstring injury in practice. And if you can pick up Geno, I would rather play Geno than Richardson. Richardson has some stuff to prove. Man, I hope my connection holds up. I'm still getting like a spotty Wi-Fi connection symbol. Even though my router is literally right here. It's sitting right next to me on the desk. Hopefully no issues. If anything happens, I will fire up another stream. If I lose this connection, if anything happens, I will fire up another stream. So maybe if you don't have notifications turned on for the channel, maybe consider turning them on. That way, if I lose this connection, I will fire up another stream and you'll get the notification with the new link. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Technology, man. I turned off all of my other devices too. I'm focused right here. I would pick up Geno though, Jake. If Geno's available, I don't want to drop Anthony Richardson, but I don't want to really play him unless I have no other option. Richardson could give you a massive performance, but we don't see it. We haven't seen enough consistency from him yet. He'll run, which is great. He will run, but can he effectively throw the ball enough? I would rather play Geno. Geno is just playing better. He's throwing the ball a lot. He's got, I think, over 270 or 280 yards passing in 5 straight games. We just need a couple of touchdowns to come through for Geno, and he's been a little in the unlucky department for that this year. That's eventually going to turn around, and this seems like a good matchup against the Atlanta Falcons in the Dome for that to happen. I'll take Geno over Richardson for sure. Yeah, pick him up. I don't want to drop Richardson, but pick up Geno. Okay, I think those are all the member questions. And again, thank you to Don for the super. Very generous of you. I will move back up to the top. Appreciate everybody's patience. But if I see more member questions or supers, I will jump out of line to grab them. So appreciate y'all's patience in advance. To the top. This is a dynasty question. You have Mark Andrews. What's up, Theo? You have Mark Andrews and a good wide receiver core. Do you trade Ridley and a slew of 3rd-round picks for Kelsey? Sure. I mean, you can. If your wide receiver core is strong, the draft picks don't concern me all that much. Kelsey's a win-now move. And he's way more viable rest of season with Rashee Rice down for the count. He's out for the year. The Chiefs are not going to be able to load manage Travis Kelsey anymore. So, yeah, that way you get a little bit of a safety net as far as protecting yourself from the volatility of Mark Andrews. And it's possible Mark Andrews last week was a turnaround point for him, but those first 6 weeks were awful First 5 weeks were awful. So can we automatically go back to the well with Mark Andrews just because he caught a touchdown last week? I don't know. So grabbing Kelsey when Ridley is expendable for you, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. And then, yeah, I got Derek's questions. Again, Derek, I would move Deontay in over Garrett Wilson if Deontay is healthy. I need to see what Garrett Wilson's target share looks like with Devontae Adams now in the mix. Grade your trades. I could do that. Shakir for Cooper the week before he got traded. Whew, that is now a heist for Amari Cooper. And it looks like in your next question you have Cooper. So if you're the one who acquired Cooper, nicely done. I like Shakir. He's a good player. Amari Cooper has a chance to be a wide receiver 1, though, for this offense. And it's a great landing spot. This is exactly what Amari Cooper needed to revitalize his season. And honestly, probably the last maybe couple of years of his career. So I like the acquisition of Cooper for Shakir. Great move. Bucky and Kmet for Tony Pollard and Worthy. Well, I'd rather have the Tony Pollard side. That's a heist. I'd rather have the Tony Pollard side. Bucky's in a gross committee. Cole Kmet had a really nice day week 6, in London, but tight end volatility remains the name of the game. So unloading one for, an upgrade at running back and an interesting, young wide receiver in Worthy, who's also past his bye week now. Yeah, I feel good about that. And then, or is this Worthy and Chubb for Devontae Smith, or is that the question? Or is it Bucky and Kmet for Pollard, and then Worthy and Chubb for Devontae Smith? I like that fine as well. Bucky and Kmet for Pollard is a win, especially with Tajay Spears missing this game, dealing with another injury. So I like the acquisition of Pollard, and then Worthy and Chubb for Devontae Smith. I think that's got to be what it is. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, Chubb's making his season debut this week, which is great for Chubb. Super happy for him, super excited for him. Hopefully he balls out. I just don't know what he's going to look like after coming back from such a gruesome injury. Return to play doesn't always mean return to performance, even though Chubb is that dude. I hope he balls out. But Devontae Smith, we expect him to ball out. So, yeah, I feel good about that. The good-looking squad. You have to play Mason as your flex. Who are your starting running backs? I guess Walker is one of them. You're keeping Walker in your lineup no matter what. If he's active, he's in. Like, I don't care what illness he's dealing with. I don't care if he's got food poisoning. I don't care if he's, I don't care what what got going on. If he is active, he's in your lineup. So I would, if the running back spots are filled up, I would flex. Who is your RB1? If you're choosing between Mason and Tony Pollard. I would probably ride the wave with Mason, even though it's not a good matchup. I want to get all 3 of those running backs in my lineup if you can. I'm very curious to know who your RB1 is, because it's not McCaffrey, not right now anyway. Walker's in. Walker's in your flex, but I want to get Mason and Pollard in there if you can. I want to get them both in. Do you start Kupp, Mason, or Chase Brown, or Whittington if Kupp is out? If Kupp is in, you're playing Cooper Kupp. If Kupp is out, I would probably play Jordan Mason over Whittington. I like Chase Brown, but for all of Cleveland's issues, they still have some solid players on defense. The vibes are not great for Zach Moss. They're trending up for Chase Brown, but on the road in a division matchup against the Browns, I don't feel as strongly about as I do Kupp or Mason. I would play Kupp if he's in. I would play Mason if Kupp is out. That's what I would do. And you have the benefit of knowing both of those situations as they unfold because they're both playing in the later window. So, yeah. Cup if he's in, Mason if Cup is out. Let's see. And hello to everybody who has joined so far today. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. If both are active, would I start Bigsby or would I start ETN? I don't really trust. I mean, I don't really trust Travis Etienne right now. He's been okay this year. Obviously, last week was not good. You take a look at his numbers, and nothing jumps off the page for you with Travis Etienne, but he hasn't given you. He's not winning you weeks, but he's not hurting you either. Last week he did. Last week he lost the week for you, but previously the first 5 weeks has been decent. Downturn in workload. There's no doubt about that. Week to week as a result of the health concern, even though he's questionable on the injury report. Given the arrows pointing down on ETN, even though, like I just said, he hasn't been awful. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been terrible. But still, the arrow's trending down, plus the injury he picked up, plus Tank Bigsby has looked like the superior runner. I think I trust Bigsby more. If both active, I think I trust Bigsby more. Yeah. Arrow's pointing down on ETN right now. An Evans for JMO trade got vetoed in your league. I am not a believer in vetoes. I think we're all adults. I mean, I don't. Well, maybe we got some youths in here. Maybe you got. I don't know. Maybe we got some. Anyway, we are all old enough to make our own decisions, right? I don't care if you're 12 years old or 112 years old. We are all old enough to make our own decisions when it comes to managing a fantasy football lineup. This looks lopsided on paper because we're talking about Mike Evans, a year in, year out, 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown guy, versus JMO, who is only just now putting it together and having a decent start to his season, but hasn't done anything yet to this point in his career. His rookie season was cut short because of an injury going into the year, and then last year got off on the wrong foot with the suspension, and things didn't really materialize for him just yet, but they are now. I don't believe in vetoes. That's all I'll say. I've seen trades before that I don't agree with, that I don't like. If I see that, I might call somebody out on it, but I'm not going to veto it. I'm not going to make a decision for you when I'm not involved in a trade. If there's clear and obvious collusion, that's one thing. But this isn't that. Clear and obvious collusion, you don't need a veto system for that. You just need a competent commissioner to be able to handle a situation like that. You don't need vetoes. I am not in on vetoes. I don't believe in them. I don't have that system in any of my leagues. I may ask somebody to explain their thought process if I see a trade that doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not going to reverse the trade. Let people make their own decisions. That's my thought. Anthony Richardson or Andy Dalton? Yeah, this is the cutoff of what do we do with Anthony Richardson this week making his return. It's a good matchup. There's nothing scary about the Dolphins on defense, and they just lost who'd they lose? Jalen Phillips, one of their edge rushers. So it's an even softer matchup now by the numbers. I give the slight nod to Richardson because while I do have question marks about how effective he can be as a passer, and is he smart enough to get down in time and not take unnecessary hits, we know how thrilling of a football player he can be and how fun he is to watch. But if he's not going to get down in time and he's going to take big unnecessary hits that knock him out of the game, then we don't have any use for that. I'll lean Richardson. It is close. This is the cutoff. The Anthony Richardson bar this week is set at Andy Dalton. I will give the slight nod to Anthony Richardson, but Richardson does remain highly volatile. We're not also going to know Deontay Johnson's status for this game before the 1 o'clock kickoffs because the Panthers play at 4 o'clock for some god awful reason. Should be a 1 o'clock. I guess it's for Jaden Daniels, I guess, essentially, but I don't know why they scheduled this game for 4 o'clock. We all knew the Panthers weren't going to be good this year coming in. I digress. I'll give the nod to Richardson. As long as if Josh Downs and Alec Pierce are healthy and he's got his full receiver core, I'm fine with Richardson. If Downs is out and Pierce is out, and the vibes going into the day are that Deontay Johnson will play, I might say pivot to Andy Dalton. But if Richardson has his full complement of receivers with the rushing upside that he brings to the table, I'll say Richardson. And then Tucker Kraft or Evan Ingram. This one is actually a little easier for me. It's Evan Ingram. Not because Evan Ingram is some world beater, but the Jaguars have to they have to rely on Evan Ingram, whereas the Packers just have more options. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Wicks. If Wicks sits, then that makes Tucker Kraft a little bit more intriguing. But Evan Ingram, I think, is more of a staple of the offense. Obviously, the Packers' offense is better than Jacksonville's, but we saw Evan Ingram come to life in his first game back from missing multiple weeks. He had 10 catches last week. They're still in London, so there's a little bit of consistency, continuity for the Jaguars not having to travel this week. They stayed in London after their London game last week. They got another London game this week, so that helps a little bit. I'll say Ingram. Especially in full PPR. 10 catches is 10 catches. Tucker Kraft could catch. He caught two touchdowns one week, and then he did nothing the next. So it's just a reminder of the volatility of tight ends. They'll do this and make you feel really good, and then they'll all of a sudden go all the way back down. That's the roller coaster of the tight end position. I'll rock with Evan Ingram. I think he's a little bit more of a staple in his offense than Tucker Kraft is. And that's not a knock on Tucker Kraft. It's just it's Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram and then Christian Kirk for the Jags. For the Packers, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Emmanuel Wilson catches the ball in the backfield. And then if Wicks is able to go, that hurts his ceiling a little bit. I'll say Ingram. Let's see. I got Nino's thoughts. Get that. Yeah. Dobbins and Wandale for Cook is a great return. Love that. And yes, good to see Nick Chubb back this week. Tyrone Tracy or Tyler Lockett. I like Tracy. I like Tracy. With Devin Singletary back, that makes him a little more volatile. We just don't know what his usage is going to be. I'll say Lockett. And I don't know your scoring. If it's half or full PPR, I'll say Lockett. If it's standard scoring, you can go to Tracy. Scoring helps. If you guys have a flex question about you could start a running back or a wide receiver, let me know the scoring. That'll help sort things out. Also, if you've got bonuses in your league that might, big plays or bonuses at benchmarks for yardage, all that good stuff, let me know. That could maybe help, help sort things out. Mostly the PPR versus half PPR versus standard is the big one. When you've got a flex question, that goes for everybody. I'll say Lockett in half and full PPR. I'll say Tracy in standard scoring. I think the Seahawks are in a really good spot tomorrow against the Falcons secondary, and Geno's playing well. Oh, I got another super from Mateo. Thanks, Mateo. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Don't know if you should start Baker or Jordan. Jordan Addison? Or Jordan Love. Oh, Jordan Love. I don't know why I defaulted to Jordan Addison because I answered a question about Addison earlier. Baker versus Jordan Love. I got to go Baker. They're both great. If this is a one quarterback league, I would sell one of those. I would sell one of them. I would sell one of those guys, Mateo. I would try to trade for whatever you could use. Could you use a little bit more running back help? Flip one of those quarterbacks for a running back. Could you use a little bit more wide receiver help? Flip one of those guys for a wide receiver. I hate having to make a decision in one quarterback leagues between two high-end options. Baker and Love are both awesome. They've both been great. I think Baker has actually been a little bit better, and the matchup is really good. The Ravens are getting cooked through the air, something you don't say very often about the Baltimore Ravens defense, but they are like a very beatable secondary. They're like a top 3 matchup favorable for opposing quarterbacks. Baker had one bad game week 3 against Denver where he was the quarterback 27. Outside of that, he's been the QB2, the QB5, the QB3, the QB7, the QB2. I think you got to play Baker, even though Love is super enticing. He's got a good matchup, too, at home. His finishes have been QB11, QB2, QB14, QB3. Both great options. I'm giving the slight nod to Baker. I'm giving the slight nod to Baker. He has, and Mike Evans is off the injury report, so he's got his full complement of weapons. Give me Baker. It's close. I would rock with Baker and maybe try to trade Love. Or or if you can sell high on Baker and get like a wide receiver 1 or a running back 1. I don't know how easily you could swindle somebody in your league, but I would try to trade one of those two. And then, Brian, Kirk, or Tracy for your flex. Is that which Brian? Is that Brian Robinson or Brian Thomas, Mateo? I wouldn't play Christian Kirk, not with Evan Engram back. Kirk is difficult to trust with Engram. Engram, I think, is higher in the pecking order than Kirk when both are healthy. So I have a hard time trusting Kirk. If it's honestly, if it's Brian Thomas or Brian Robinson, I think I would play either one of those guys over Tracy, even though you have standard scoring. So that would make the running back a little bit more appealing, but Brian Thomas just missed a long bomb for a touchdown last week. I would go back to the well with him. It's Brian Thomas. Okay. Yeah, give me Brian Thomas. Give me Brian Thomas over Kirk, over Tracy. Brian Thomas is just freaking good. I know he didn't do much last week, but he just missed a long bomb for a score, which wasn't on him. It was on Trevor Lawrence. I'll take Brian Thomas over Christian Kirk because Brian Thomas doesn't get cannibalized by Evan Engram. Christian Kirk does. And I like Tracy a lot, but with Devin Singletary back, we got to see how that shakes out. We know Brian Thomas is going to be on the field for Jacksonville every play. Give me Baker. Give me Brian Thomas. Appreciate it, Mateo. And I got Nick, a new member. Welcome aboard, Nick. Appreciate your support. Very kind of you. Thanks for joining on. You will get priority responses to your questions moving forward. So let me know. Do I have one from you earlier? I'm just scrolling through. I don't see one, but it's possible I missed one. I'm just scrolling through real quick. And everybody who else is coming in, welcome. I see all your questions. I promise I will get to y'all. I just got to work through members and supers first. Appreciate your patience in advance, but I will get to everybody. Promise. I don't see any questions from Nick just yet, but welcome aboard being a member. Glad to have you on. Let me know what you got. Let me know what you need. Oh, no question today. What was yesterday's? Remind me yesterday's. I got a lot of people saw my Tyler Goodson video and asked me a lot of questions. So just remind me what it is, and I promise I'll get to it. Dynasty Football Key, what's going on? And he hate me with this with another super. Thank you so much. You guys are making my day so far. Hopefully I can give you the best advice that you can possibly get, and we can get some dubs. We can get some dubs for week 8. Week 7. It's week 8 in college football this week. It's not week 7, or it's week 7 in the NFL. Keep getting that stuff mixed up. Oh, you're just to become a member, Nick. Got you. Glad you were able to sort it out. And more importantly, I appreciate the support. Thank you so much, man. Let's see. Dynasty Football Key. You're in first place. You will receive, this is a dynasty question. You receive DJ Moore and Jonathan Taylor. You give the 109. You know it'll be the 109. A 2025 second, a 2026 second. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with this. If you're in first and you're making a buy, you're making a buy. My only concern with Taylor, not just for the rest of the season, but just in general moving forward, is he is starting to rack up the injuries. Not just this year, last year as well. He missed time, I think, with an ankle injury. He's had a couple of injury-riddled seasons, and the season prior, because 3 years ago was his overall RB1 year, and then 2 years ago, he picked up an injury that forced him to miss time. Last year, he had the ankle injury after the 4-game absence to start the year. He had an ankle injury last year, and now he's got a high ankle sprain. So my only concern with Taylor is he's starting to rack up the injuries. He's an awesome football player. Health is starting to creep in a little bit, though. That being said, if you are a slam dunk top 2 or 3 best team in the league in Dynasty, you make these types of moves to put your team over the top to go win a championship. DJ Moore is past his bye after this week. He looks like he's rounding into form because Caleb Williams looks like he's rounding into form. They do have some tougher matchups toward the end of the season, but DJ Moore, we know, has wide receiver 1 upside any given week, regardless of who's throwing him the ball, because DJ Moore is a baller. I think I'm okay with this trade. I just caution, could you get like a third back in like 2027 or some random stuff down the line and just like point out these concerns about Taylor's health moving forward? Like, I'll give you the first, I'll give you the 2 seconds. Can I get a third back in return just as like a little bit of protection from Taylor? I would love that if you get, I would probably still do this in a first place situation in Dynasty. I got a little bit of pause about Jonathan Taylor for his health moving forward. That's all. That's all. That being said, I like this trade. I like this trade for a dynasty contender. So, yeah. See if you can get a little small piece in return with Taylor's injury concerns. If you can't, I probably still make the move, but give it a shot. Give it a shot. And everybody make sure to follow Dynasty Football Key. He also gives out fantasy football advice throughout the year. Give him a follow. He streams as well. I'm sure he's happy to help you all out. Emma, okay, you tried to trade for Pacheco. All right, well, hopefully you didn't make that happen. But you can find another running back to make a move for if you can. He hate me. Thank you again for the super. Appreciate that very much. You just let me know if you need anything. I'm just finishing up Mateo's thoughts over here because Mateo did send me a super. Very kind of you. So I'm just finishing up your thoughts. Jordan Love and Brian Thomas for Chuba and Xavier Worthy. I don't love giving up Brian Thomas, but I have a little bit of pause with that one, Mateo, because Chuba's awesome now, but will he still be awesome when Jonathan Brooks comes back? That's the question that we don't know. He's been awesome. And I like Xavier Worthy as, young ascending talent with a great opportunity ahead of him because we lost Rashee Rice for the season. I don't hate it, but I do have a little bit of concern about Chuba in the second half if Jonathan Brooks kind of starts to get involved. Not because I think Jonathan Brooks necessarily just automatically takes over, but he's going to cut into Chuba's opportunities. And he's not going to be right now. Chuba's like a slam dunk RB1 right now. I don't know if he's going to be that like from week 10 on. For the next month, though, he probably is. After that, it's going to be a little bit more volatile. And then should you pick up Chandler? I'm just finishing up Mateo's questions because he was kind enough to send a super. Or sorry, don't mean to assume who you are. Do you pick up Chandler just in case Aaron Jones doesn't play? Sure, if there's room. I don't want to drop like guys like Brian Thomas or Christian Kirk or Tyrone Tracy, though. I'm only dropping somebody like Tracy if Aaron Jones is definitively out. And even then, I'm not crazy about it because they're playing the Lions tomorrow. And the Lions are really good against the run. So, yes, Chandler will get more opportunities if Jones doesn't play, but it's a bad matchup by the numbers. Appreciate the super, Mateo. And he hate me. Thank you, guys. And Nick, welcome again. I see you got I see you got something here. How do I feel about Mike Evans? He's off the injury report. We're good. Fire up Mike Evans. I know he's playing on Monday night, a little bit more volatile, all that stuff. He was removed from the injury report. Demario Douglas should be solid tomorrow against Jacksonville. Great matchup. We're firing up Mike Evans. We're firing up Mike Evans. What you can do is play Singletary over Stevenson if Stevenson is ruled out. You can play Singletary over Stevenson if Stevenson is ruled out, but I would not play Douglas over Mike Evans. Mike Evans was taken off the injury report. We are firing him up with confidence. Firing him up with confidence. But everything else looks good. Okay, I got a lot of supers and a new member in Nick, so I had to get to those, but appreciate it very much. Appreciate all you guys and your patience. I'm gonna move back up to the top now. I have my spot. I got to the Tyrone Tracy versus Tyler Lockett question. I'm going Lockett in full PPR or half PPR. I'm going Tracy in standard. Vikings or Rams defense? The Vikings. The Vikings. The Rams stink. The Rams stink on defense. They are a run funnel and a pass funnel. I know that the Raiders stink too. Aiden O'Connell, no Devontae Adams, all that stuff. And the Vikings have a much tougher matchup. I'm just rocking with the better defense. And the Vikings are the better defense. They pressure the quarterback better. They are better in the secondary. They're better at all levels than the Rams are. The Rams have looked lost on defense this year without Aaron Donald. They're getting cooked in all facets, on the ground, through the air. Maybe the Raiders don't cook them. But I don't want to play a bad defense in a good matchup just because it's a good matchup. I would rather play a good defense in a less than ideal matchup because I want to bet on talent. Give me the Vikings. Give me the Vikings. Is Chargers Cardinals on ESPN? I thought it was just on ESPN Plus. Maybe I did get some errant information. I'll have to double check that. But that would be great. That would be good to know. It might be on ESPN in local markets. Like if you live in LA or if you live in Arizona, you might get it on on local ESPN. But if you don't, and don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure. But if you don't live in those areas, you might need ESPN Plus for those. I'm not 100% sure though. Don't quote me on that. Commanders defense is also interesting, but again, they're a less than ideal unit to work with just because they're in a good matchup. I'll play the Vikings even though it's against the Lions. I want to bet on talent, and they're at home, right? The Vikings are at home coming off their bye week. I feel fine about that. I feel fine about them. Brian Thomas, Deontay, or Marvin Harrison? If Deontay is healthy, Deontay. He's been since Andy Dalton came into the lineup, he's been a wide receiver one, I think, every week except for one. Yeah. Week 3, 8 for 122 and a touch. Week 4, 7 for 83 and a touch. Week 5, bad, not a great spot, bad matchup, bad situation, 3 catches, 23 yards, not good. Last week, 10 targets, 6 catches, 78 yards, touchdown. we're firing up Deontay Johnson. If he's healthy, he's reportedly dealing with multiple injuries, ankle, hamstring, ribs, limited in Friday's injury report. If he's healthy, or if he might not be healthy, if he plays, he's in. He's in your lineup. If he's active, he's in your lineup. And then if Deontay can't go, then yes, you could pivot to Marvin Harrison on Monday Night Football. I want to play Brian Thomas. He's awesome. But Deontay has been a wide receiver 1 3 out of the 4 weeks that Andy Dalton has been the quarterback. Yeah. Deontay if he plays, Marvin Harrison if he doesn't play, because Brian Thomas will have already gone in the London game. I do think Brian Thomas is going to have a nice day tomorrow. I think he'll be perfectly fine, but I got to wait on Deontay. Assuming we don't get any information about him prior to the start of the London game. If we know going into the London game that Deontay Johnson's not going to play, then you can play Brian Thomas. But if we get news that Deontay's going to play, you fire him up. Or if we don't get any news, you fire him up. And if we later find out he's ruled out, then you still have Marvin Harrison on Monday night. And then he hate me. You need to pick up a defense. Commanders, Bengals, Lions, Bills. The Bills. The Bills now, today, yesterday, like the Bills. They're playing the Titans. And I know that it's not Will Levis, but Mason Rudolph isn't exactly a world beater. And I think they're at home, right? Are the Bills at home? It doesn't even matter. I would play the Bills. They are. The Bills are at home against the Titans, who are starting Mason Rudolph. The Bills. The Lions are a good option too, but they're playing the Vikings. Better offense. The Titans' offense is not good, mostly because of the quarterback. Yeah. The Bills, he hate me, like, now. As soon as you can, pick up the Bills. Lions are a good option too, but I'll take the Bills. They're a good defense, and they're playing a horrendous offense. I got another super from Tyler. Appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Love or Jalen? I'll go Jalen Hurts. I mean, they're both really good. They're both in good spots. I think I trust the Packers play calling more than I trust the Eagles play calling. The Eagles coaching staff is a bunch of boobs. But I'll take Hurts throwing the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and maybe ideally they're going to probably give the ball to Saquon as much as they can. It's a revenge game for Saquon against the Giants. I guess it's a revenge game for the Giants as well. It works both ways because he chose the Eagles over them. But if he throws it to Saquon makes a big play. Hurts benefits from that, and Hurts will run. Love will run as well, but Hurts is a little bit more of a so far proven runner, a little bit more compared to Love. I'll say Hurts. It's close, but I'll say Hurts. Both are in good matchups. The division opponent does make it a little bit more dicey with Hurts, but he's been a top 3 quarterback over half of the time that he plays, which is stellar. It might not sound great, but it is. The number of times that you're a top 3 or top 5 fantasy option at your position doesn't happen a lot. When you go over 50%, those are elite numbers, and Hurts regularly does that. So I'll say Hurts. And you have to, do you have to make a drop is this to make a legal move for your roster? Why do we have, is it because you got to move somebody into your starting lineup? If you have to, I guess I don't want to drop Tracy, but as of right now, I don't think I can drop Bigsby over Tracy. Because Bigsby is trending toward becoming the 1A in the Jaguars offense, even with a healthy Travis Etienne. We don't know definitively yet if that's the case for Tracy and Devin Singletary. I don't want to drop either one of those guys. I would trade one of Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts and maybe with one of those two running backs to get a better running back and then just rock with either Love or Hurts rest of season. I hate rostering two quarterbacks, especially two good quarterbacks in one quarterback formats. I'd rather sell one to boost my running back or wide receiver depth and just rock with one of those two guys rest of season and not think about it. Try to trade one of those two quarterbacks with one of those two running backs in a 2-for-1 where you get an upgraded either running back or wide receiver, whatever you need a little bit more of. And then that way you don't have to make any drops. You can upgrade your running back position and move forward with just one of those quarterbacks. That's what I would do. That's for anybody, to be honest. If you have two really good quarterback options in a one quarterback league, trade one because you only need one. Trade one, get a boosted either running back or wide receiver. That's what I would do. Because even in a worst case scenario with your starting quarterback, in all likelihood, you can stream. It's way harder to stream running back and wide receiver, as we all know. So I would play Hurts. And before I drop one of those running backs, I would check your league mates. Who needs a quarterback? Who could use some depth running backs? Package two of those guys, either Love and Tracy, Love and Bigsby, Hurts and Bigsby, Hurts and Tracy, doesn't matter. I would try to trade two of those guys. The league doesn't trade. Okay, well, that is frustrating. Okay. I don't want to drop Tyrone Tracy, but that's who I would drop. If you have to make a drop, I would drop Tracy. And then hope that you can. I would wait until tomorrow morning, though, Tyler. I would wait until tomorrow morning. Wait until the London game kicks off. Because if ETN is out, then we definitively know we want to keep Bigsby. But just in case, you never know. And then I would, I guess, drop Tracy. I don't really want to drop Tracy, but if you absolutely have to, that's who I would drop. So if your bench is a mess, see if you can move one of your quarterbacks. I know the league doesn't trade. I don't know. Text all of them. Just be like, hey, I know one of you needs a quarterback. Let's talk shop. Let's make a move. But I understand. how that works sometimes. Some leagues don't trade a whole lot. And it can be frustrating when you have a situation where you could stand to benefit from a trade. I mean, try to kick the tires. I mean, you know your league mates better than I do. If it's not going to happen, then it's not going to happen. But I would drop Tracy if you have no other options. But appreciate the supers, Tyler. Very kind of you. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Again, for anybody just coming in, or if you haven't gotten your questions answered, I'm getting to members and supers out of order. That is a perk of being a member of the channel, or if you're feeling generous enough to send a super, you do not have to, but I will be answering those in priority order, and then I will get to everybody else. Appreciate y'all's patience. I will get to everybody, and now I'm going to move back up to the top. But thank you, everybody, so far for the supers. I got a new member today, and Nick. It's been very appreciative day for you guys, or I am of you guys. So hopefully we get some wins tomorrow. I am down to this. Need a flex in full PPR. Ladd McConkey, Ty Chandler, Tyrone Tracy, Juju Smith-Schuster. I would probably play Ladd. I think Quentin Johnston is on the injury report. What is his status? I'm going to check Quentin Johnston's status. Not that they, one's an outside wide receiver, one's an inside wide receiver. He's officially doubtful. So even more potential opportunities go in Ladd McConkey's way, assuming that Ladd will play. It is on Monday night, so that makes it a little bit of a concern. But I think Ladd has a chance to come through in a decent matchup. I would only play Chandler if Aaron Jones is definitively out, and even then, it's not a good matchup against the Lions. They are, I think, top 2 in the league against the run. Not a great spot. They are at home, the Vikings are, so not as daunting, but still, the Lions' run defense is really good. Although they did lose Aiden Hutchinson, so that probably takes a hit. I don't trust Juju picking up a midweek hamstring injury. I like Tyrone Tracy, but Devin Singletary is back, so we got to see what that backfield looks like. I would play McConkey in full PPR. If if anything happens with Ladd McConkey, just make sure that there's another guy on Monday night that you can pick up and play that's on the waivers. Rashad Bateman. Remember, there's a doubleheader for Monday night this Monday. It's Bucks, Ravens, and Chargers, Cardinals. So if you choose to go McConkey, and that would probably be my suggestion, just make sure that you can grab a Rashad Bateman, a Josh Palmer, an ancillary wide receiver that plays on Monday night in the event that McConkey doesn't play, because he's also on the injury report. But I think there's more optimism than not with McConkey. So I would play Ladd, especially in full PPR. Debo, Christian Watson, or Chase Brown at the flex. We have to play Debo. We gotta play Debo, especially after what he had last week on Thursday night. We ride that wave. Debo's the best player of this group, most accomplished player of this group. You drafted him high. Keep Debo in your lineup. Pick 2 from Metcalf, Higgins, McLaurin. Oh, holy hell, man. You got a lot of good wide receiver options. Metcalf, Higgins, McLaurin, Deontay, Ayuk, and JMO. Dude, you got a bunch of like top 30 options here. They're all really good. Like top 20, like flex options, top 30 flex options here. I would probably play Higgins. Play Higgins. The Bengals offense is clicking. They didn't do great against the Giants on the road, but Burrow's playing really well. The receivers have been racking up a lot of good numbers recently. They only scored 17 points last week, but this Bengals offense, I think, has found their rhythm, and now everybody's healthy and all good. I'll play Higgins from this group. And then I guess I would play, it's between like Metcalf and McLaurin. Man, I would try to probably trade to, I don't know, I would probably try to trade 2 of these guys for like a stud at running back. It's pick your poison. It is pick your poison. I guess I would play Higgins, and I would play, I want to plan to play Deontay if he goes. But Metcalf and McLaurin play in the early window, so you're maybe not going to know Deontay's status before then. Higgins and McLaurin against Carolina at home. I guess I'll take Higgins and McLaurin. Higgins, I think, is a for sure answer for me. And then I guess I'll go McLaurin at home against Carolina. Great matchup. How do you have all this? How do you have all these receivers? This is crazy, man. All really good options. Tell your commissioner to expand lineups so you can play like 3 of these guys instead of just 2. Yeah, I'll say these are all great options. I'll say Higgins and McLaurin. If Deontay was fully healthy, I would say Deontay, but because he's dealing with quote unquote multiple injuries, I'll knock him down a peg with this particular group of options. Who do I start between Achane and Smith and Jigba? Achane. Achane. Smith and Jigba's in a good matchup. He is, but I gotta rock with Achane and his ceiling. His ceiling is obviously not as strong as if Tua was playing, but in this matchup against the Colts, like the Colts haven't been able to stop anybody on the ground. I guess it's possible they stack the box. Standard scoring Achane, half PPR Achane, full PPR JSN. I gotta. Achane's been disappointing the past couple of weeks. He could have done better, but he suffered the concussion. So we don't really hold that last week against him or week 5 against him. I'll say Achane. It's a beautiful matchup against the Colts. And they're coming off their bye week, so maybe that helps the offense a little bit. I'll say Achane. Geno or Cousins? I'll take Cousins because he's at home. I'll take Cousins because he's at home. It's a great matchup against Seattle's secondary. The Falcons' offense has been starting to cook through the air after a bit of a slow start. Like, that's a really good matchup. Cousins was the overall QB1 just 2 weeks ago. He's been a little bit more meh than I thought, but it's a really good matchup. Actually, I guess Geno has been playing better, but it's a West Coast team coming east to play an early game. It's really close. I'll give the slight nod to Cousins because he's at home. Slight nod to Cousins because he's at home. Let's see. Juju, Smith and Jigba, Dubs, or Pickens. Yeah, so like my concern for Pickens is quite high right now. Not just because he's been disappointing by relative to expectations, but we're going to get musical chairs at quarterback this week for the Steelers, presumably, which I hate. And he's going to see Sauce Gardner. Don't like that either. DJ Reed might not play. That would be a break for the Steelers if DJ Reed does not play. He's questionable with a groin injury. Pickens is like a low floor wide receiver 3. I'll say Smith and Jigba here. It's a good matchup. He's running ahead of Tyler Lockett this season as far as routes run and targets. 5 catches for 53 yards in a tough matchup last week. He gets a favorable matchup this week against Atlanta. I'll say Smith and Jigba. That's where we're at with George Pickens. I don't trust him right now, not just because he's not performing well, but because the Steelers' quarterback situation is gross. I guess Russ helps him, but it's his first game action against the Jets, against Sauce Gardner. I'd rather not. I'll take JSN here. I'll take JSN. Let's see. Drake May versus Kyler Murray. May is definitely in a streaming spot, whereas Murray has been so disappointing. Murray's had 2 top 5 weeks, and then like every other matchup was like he was like the QB 20 or worse. It's super enticing to play Drake May tomorrow against Jacksonville. Murray, 2 top 5 weeks, and then QB 15, QB 17, QB 24, QB 25. Like, he's been so blah. He's only thrown for more than 1 touchdown in 1 game this year. That was all the way back in week 2. He's running the ball just fine, but he does have 2 weeks where he only ran for 3 yards and 14 yards. I would play May. I would stream Drake May. Over Kyler, which doesn't feel good, to be completely honest, because we're talking about Kyler at his floor versus Drake May after 1 good start. But I'll take May against the Jags, who have been horrendous this year. They are awful on defense. I'll take Drake May. As far as Juju versus Pickens, I don't trust Pickens, and I also don't trust Juju. I guess I'll play Pickens, but I don't feel great about it. Russ gets his first start of the season. Fields will mix in. He's going to see Sauce Gardner. I don't like this matchup. But Juju is playing the 49ers and is coming off of a hamstring injury that he suffered this week in practice. So I don't like that. I'll take the talent in Pickens. I'll admit I don't feel great about it. But I'll take Pickens. He's just a better player than Juju Smith-Schuster, and that's all I have to go off of right now as far as Juju versus Pickens. Let's see. David just joined, one of my other members. What's going on, David? I'm going to jump down, but for anybody still waiting, Blizzard, Half Tracks, Braden, Josiah, Sea-Dog, Anthony, Nick, I see all your questions. Tommy, sit tight. Appreciate y'all's patience. I see your questions. I'm going to get to them, but I got to get to my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. What's going on, David? Well, you're playing you're playing Jefferson in a wide receiver spot. You're playing McConkey in the other wide receiver spot in full PPR. And I would play. We're not going to know if Cooper Kupp is going to play until probably the late window. Otherwise, I would say Whittington. So I'll say Lockett, Jefferson, McConkey, and Lockett, David. In full PPR, I'm not playing a second tight end. You already have Trey McBride in there, which is the right move. I'm not playing a second tight end. I'm not. If I already have a dude that I'm committing to in McBride, I don't want to play Tucker Kraft. I don't want to play Zach Ertz. They're both perfectly fine options as tight end ones, but a tight end one ranking doesn't mean all that much these days. Not unless you're Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, and that's pretty much it. Trey McBride, maybe Sam Laporta. That's it. I don't feel good about anybody else. They might pop off. They might catch two balls for 10 yards. Tight end's too volatile. Give me Jefferson. Give me Lockett. Give me McConkey as your two wide receivers and your flex. Yep. I'll sit Waddle until Tua's back. I'll sit Sean Tucker. I don't want to trust the Bucs backfield. I would like Whittington if I knew that Kupp wasn't playing, but we're not going to know that until after. Here's what I'll do, David. Jefferson and Lockett in your wide receiver spots. Put McConkey in your flex. If Cooper Kupp is out, then I would move Whittington into your flex over McConkey. That's what I would do. Good to see you, David. Thanks for popping in. Back up to where I had my spot in line. Would I trade Jamo, Connor, Algier, Rattler for Lawrence and a mid-25 first? Not if I'm getting Lawrence. No. Is this a Superflex Dynasty League? Obviously, Lawrence has value in a Superflex Dynasty League, but I don't want to trade those assets. I don't want to trade Jamo. Connor's getting older, so I understand it. Algier's a backup, so I understand it. Rattler is probably a backup for most of his career, if not all of it. So Lawrence and a mid-25 first is not bad. I just don't really want Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I guess he's going to continue to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, whether it's with Jacksonville or somebody else, because he just got paid a lot of money. I really don't want to give up Jamo. If your wide receiver core is strong and you're acquiring Trevor Lawrence and a first-round pick and it's super flex, then I'm fine with it. If this is a one-quarterback league, then I want the Jamo side. If it's a super flex league, I only want the Lawrence side if I'm strong at wide receiver, because I don't want to give up Jamo, who's still only like 22, 23 years old. So it depends on the format of your league. Give me the JMO side in one quarterback. I'll take the Lawrence side in super flex as long as my wide receiver core is strong. Jake, I got your question. We're playing Geno over Richardson because that's where we stand with Anthony Richardson right now. Juju, Demario Douglas, or Kirk in full PPR. This is, I think, where I'll take Demario. It's a beautiful matchup. It's a beautiful matchup against Jacksonville. Drake May, breathed some life into this offense last week. Demario has 6 catches. He has at least 6 catches in 3 of his last 4 games played. And he caught his first touchdown of the season last week with Drake May in at quarterback. And now he gets Jacksonville, who is a pass funnel. They're a run funnel. They're an anything funnel. Their defense sucks. Kirk is getting cannibalized by Evan Ingram, and Juju picked up a hamstring injury midweek. Give me Demario Douglas. Start Smith and Jigba or Josh Downs? Probably Smith and Jigba. Only because Downs is on the injury report and Anthony Richardson is back, so I don't know what that's going to look like for Josh Downs' prospects. If Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback, I would say Downs. Because it's Anthony Richardson and because he's on the injury report, Downs is, that is. I'll take Smith and Jigba here. Let's see. You're giving up JSN, Diggs, Jaden Daniels, and Marvin Harrison for Lamb, Kyler, Jaden Reed, and Kareem Hunt. So you're not giving up any running backs, but you would be getting Kareem Hunt back in the deal. You are giving up 3 receivers in Smith and Jigba, Diggs, and Marvin Harrison, and you are getting back Lamb and Jaden Reed. Big boosts there all the way around. You are downgrading from Jaden Daniels to Kyler Murray. This is a big shakeup for a team that is 5-1 and sitting pretty. However, you are acquiring the clear-cut top 2 wide receivers in this trade. Yes, Jaden Reed is a clear-cut top 2 receiver for me in this particular trade over Marvin Harrison and over Stephon Diggs. You're picking up a running back in Kareem Hunt without giving one up, so I always like that. You are downgrading from Jaden Daniels to Kyler Murray. To me, that is not enough of a deterrent to not do this deal, so I say yes. While it hurts to give up Jaden Daniels, you're still acquiring a running quarterback in Kyler. Been disappointing this year, but has a similar skill set. Lamb and Jaden Reed are the best receivers in this trade, and you are acquiring a running back without giving one up. I say yes. Do the deal. I say yes to that trade. Yep, I say yes. It's a huge haul. That's a huge trade. Like a 4-for-4. You love to see it. You love to see huge trades. Kyler, Geno, or Richardson? Geno. Richardson could give you 30 points or he could give you 5. And in his first game back, I don't know that I want to roll those dice. Kyler has been disappointing so far this year. And I'm not sure that I trust him in a less than ideal matchup. Geno has been playing well. He hasn't thrown a lot of touchdowns. The scores haven't been there. But a lot of that has been due to bad luck. At some point, that's going to turn around. Why not tomorrow in a good matchup against Atlanta? He's thrown, I think I saw, the stat I saw is Geno has thrown for 280 passing yards in 5 straight games. That is a wave that I want to continue to ride. And Seattle, Go figure. The Seattle Seahawks, who under Pete Carroll for years and years, all they would do was run, 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 run. They are the most pass-happy team in the NFL through 6 weeks so far. I'll take Geno. Those touchdowns they're gonna come. They'll be there. They're gonna arrive eventually. Like DK Metcalf was like a toenail away from a big touchdown last week and like a penalty away from another one. Give me Geno. Give me Geno. And Anthony, you have James, Cook, and Walker. Okay. So it's Pollard versus Mason. Pollard's playing the Bills. That could be a blowout. Like that, the Bills could blow them out. I'll say Mason. It's not a great matchup. The Chiefs are a really good defense, but the 49ers are a good offense and a better offense than the Titans. Pollard has been good. I think I would go to Mason because he's off the injury report. I think I would go to Mason as your flex. Yes, you start all three of those running backs over Tank Dell, Marvin Harrison, and Khalil Shakir. Yes, you play Bijan, you play Dobbins, you play Chuba over Tank. Tank Dell would be the only guy in consideration for me here. Harrison is in a tougher matchup, and it's great that he's coming off the concussion, but he is coming off of a concussion. And Shakir just went down a peg with the acquisition of Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper's going to play for the Bills this weekend. Yes, you play all three of those running backs. Yes. Yeah. Chuba and Dobbins are slam dunks right now. Like, you got to get them in your lineup, especially in these matchups. Yep. Play all three. Trey Sermon, Bucky, Goodson, Tracy, Gibson in full PPR. If you had told me half PPR, I would probably say just go with Trey Sermon. But because it's full PPR, that makes Goodson a little bit more intriguing. I think Goodson is the better player than Trey Sermon, but Trey Sermon has continued to operate as like the running back, if that makes sense, with Goodson being more change of pace, pass catching back, even though he did get 8 carries last week. The PPR makes me super enticed by Tyler Goodson. I'm not going to lie. I can't play Bucky if we're not going to know until Monday night if Rachaad White plays. If he doesn't, then Bucky is viable, but we're not going to know until after all these other guys have played. So I don't think Bucky is an option here. If Rachaad White is in and Sean Tucker's getting involved and Bucky Irving's still doing his thing, I don't want to play any one of those guys because I don't want to try to sit here and predict which one is going to do well. Maybe 2 of them do well, but that means that probably one of them is not going to do well. I'd rather not deal with that mess. If you are a favorite in your matchup, if you think you're gonna, if you think you're looking good, your guys versus your opponent's guys, I would play Sermon. If it's an even matchup or if you're an underdog, I would swing on Tyler Goodson in full PPR. That's where I'm at. I'm not playing Gibson even if Ramondre is out. He hasn't done anything with his opportunities. And I like Tracy. I like Tracy a lot. But now with Devin Singletary back in the mix, we got to see what this backfield looks like. Got to see what the backfield looks like. And yep, no problem. And this was in response to the question about vetoes. I hate vetoes in leagues. I hate vetoes. I don't agree with it. Let people make their own decisions and let people make their own mistakes. If you fuck up in a trade, learn from it. Learn from it. That's the learning experience. As long as it's not clear-cut collusion. So yeah, I would vote to get rid of vetoes. I veto your veto. That would be my response. Start Devontae Smith, Tank Dell, or Marvin Harrison or Shakir. Devontae Smith. Tank Dell is... Houston's got Green Bay. That's a good matchup. I like Tank Dell. I like Tank Dell. I like Devontae Smith, though. Without Nico last week, Tank Dell, 9 targets, caught a touchdown. And it's a good matchup against the Packers. Man, I don't want to sit Devontae Smith, dude. I really don't. But I think I have to tell you, Tank Dell. Against the Packers, that's a great matchup. And with no Nico Collins, Tank Dell's going to continue to, be on the field for 95% of the snaps. Probably a safe bet for 9 or 10 targets. I'll say Tank. I want to play Tank and Devontae Smith, but you're obviously not taking Amon-Ra out of your lineup. But I think Tank Dell. I don't want to sit Devontae, but I think you got to go Tank Dell. I have 2 answers to this question. Tank Dell, and then go to your commissioner at the end of the year and add a 3rd wide receiver spot. I can't play in leagues anymore that only start 2 wide receivers, especially with, think about it. This is for everybody. This is for all of you. For anybody who plays in leagues where you still only start 2 wide receiver spots, that is a default standard lineup from 20 years ago when teams were still running the ball like crazy. It's a different game now. Teams throw the ball way more. There's more viable wide receivers, and we're left having to leave good players on our bench that we drafted. I encourage everybody who is playing in leagues that still only start 2 starting wide receiver spots. I'm not talking about the flex. I'm just talking about 2 wide receiver spots at the end of the year. Request a vote or request your commissioner to expand your starting lineup to 3 wide receivers instead of 2. We got to play in leagues that start 3 wide receiver spots. That is a modern day fantasy football lineup. And I'm not just saying this is, and if you are the commissioner, just enact it. Go full dictator. This is my decision and you're all going to like it. You can complain about it now. You'll all love it by week 2 of 2025. We need 3 wide receiver spots in a flex, not 2 in a flex. You're getting deprived of the players that you are drafting, and that's not fair to you guys. That's not fair to you guys. Yeah. I give the slight nod to Tank Dell as an Eagles fan. Don't ask me about the Eagles right now. But as an Eagles fan who I love Devontae Smith, I'm telling you, I think I give the nod to Tank Dell. But we go to your commish at the end of the year and we say, expand that starting line with 3 starting wide receivers so that I can draft the good players that I draft. Okay, I got through some of these questions and supers. Thank you again to Mateo. Thank you, Nick, for becoming a new member. I worked through Mateo's other questions as sending the super. Very kind of you. Baker and Darnold, most passing touchdowns in the NFL right now. Is that right? That makes sense for Baker. I don't know if I would have guessed Darnold because they're coming off their bye week. How about that? The top 2 quarterbacks in the 2018 draft. They still got it. I'm getting another connection signal. Okay, it went away. Thank God. I got Mateo's questions. Thank you again, Mateo, for the supers. Bijan or A.J. Brown? Dude, you have to bench one of these guys? You have to bench one of these guys? And it's half PPR, which doesn't make it easier. Damn, man. We need to expand these starting lineups. I'll stand on this soapbox all day long. We got to expand these starting lineups so that you guys can play your guys. A.J. Brown has played in 2 games this year. He was the wide receiver 7 and the wide receiver 3. And he gets a perfectly fine matchup tomorrow against the Giants, although I guess he might see Deonte Banks. Bijan has played in 6 games this year and has been the RB20, the RB15, the RB17, the RB29, the RB27, and then last week he blew up against the Carolina Panthers to the tune of the RB4 for overall finish. 105 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the Bijan that you expect. I would play AJ. If you can only play one of these dudes, I'll play AJ Brown. Bijan's floor has been lower this year. And while you still fire him up as an RB1 and you project him as an RB1, he's had 4 games where he has not finished as an RB1. I'll play AJ Brown. I can't believe man. You should be able to play both of those guys. You should be able to play both. But I'll play AJ. He's hit his ceiling in his 2 games this year. Bijan has fallen short of an expected floor multiple times, and that's the difference. I got to Mateo's question about Chandler. Only pick him up if Aaron Jones doesn't play, but I still don't really want to start him because they're playing the Lions, and that's a brutal matchup. Nick, thank you again. And Podson, appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Full PPR, start one running back. Chase Brown, Tank Bigsby, Raheem Mostert. Let's see. I will play Bigsby. Zach Moss is going to play for the Bengals, right? He had a shitty week last week, but he's not out. Yeah, he's going to play. I will play Bigsby if ETN is out. If ETN is in, I think I'll play Chase Brown. So, and you have the luxury of knowing the scenarios as they play out because Bigsby plays in the early London game and Chase Brown plays in the 1 o'clock window, 1 o'clock East. Give me Bigsby if ETN is out. If ETN is active, I will play Chase Brown. Mostert had a nice game last week, or week 5. They were on their bye last week, but Achane is back. So I don't feel as strongly about Mostert with Achane back in the mix. As far as Ridley, I feel better about Ridley with Mason Rudolph than I do Will Levis, but it's still less than ideal of a situation. He's a wide receiver 3. Ridley has high-end wide receiver 2 upside any given week because he's a great talent, but this Titans offense top to bottom is not good. The quarterback situation stinks. The offensive line is less than ideal. I don't know if I trust the coaching just yet. We haven't seen enough there to feel strongly about it. I feel good about Ridley. I feel better about Ridley. I don't feel great about him. Mason Rudolph might be an upgrade over Will Levis. He can't be worse than Will Levis. He's still a wide receiver 3, though, as far as ranking players for this week. All right, Nick, I got your lineup question. Thanks again for becoming a member. Full PPR, pick one. Love versus Cousins. I'm going Love. Love has just been better. Cousins is in a good matchup, but Love has been better. And there's nothing scary about the matchup against Houston. Houston has a good pass rush, but they have a beatable secondary. He's going to have to avoid Derek Stingley. But Jaden Reed is good enough to win any matchup. I'll take Jordan Love over Cousins. The floor has been higher for Love and the ceiling has been higher for Love week to week. And then between Chubb, Dobbs, Shakir. Oh, and thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. In full PPR, I don't want to play Nick Chubb yet. I am super happy for Nick Chubb that he is able to return. He's making his season debut after that brutal knee injury that he suffered last year. I am super excited for Nick Chubb, and I hope he kills it, and I hope he balls out. I can't play him in his first game back. I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. It's between Shakir and Dobbs. And honestly, if you have Love, just play Love and Dobbs. Just build the stack. Just play Dobbs. Because Shakir takes a hit with the acquisition of Amari Cooper. As for Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks is questionable with a shoulder injury, and if he doesn't play, then Dobbs, even more opportunities. I would play both. I would play your Packers. Play Love and play Dobbs. Build the stack. That's your move. That's your move. That's your move. Play your Packers. I got the Bijan versus A.J. Brown question already. I'm going A.J., even though it's criminal that you have to pick between one of those two guys. You should be able to start both. I got this defense question. I'm playing the Vikings. I'm betting on talent in a bad matchup over a bad defense in a good matchup. Give me the talent. Let's see. Where am I at? Oh, it's on. Okay. If you do, okay. Well, I do have ESPN, so I guess I'm watching it. That is false advertising by ESPN. I was led to believe that it was exclusively on ESPN Plus. So appreciate the good looks. He hate me. I got you on your defense. Grab the Bills. Run, don't walk to pick them up. Full PPR, 2 wide receiver spots and a flex. Oh, I saw this one already. Jefferson and Lockett as your 2 wide receivers, and then I would play Whittington if Kupp is out, and I would play McConkey if Kupp is in. Yep, I got that one. Debo D. Johnson. Is that Deontay Johnson or is that Dearness Johnson? I assume it's maybe not Dearness Johnson. Need 2 in full PPR. Well, Debo's a slam dunk. And if it's Deontay, I think Deontay's a slam dunk. I do like Jordan Addison for at least one more week until TJ Hawkinson comes back into the lineup. But I can't play him over Debo and Deontay. The problem here, though, is Deontay is not, we're not going to know his status until the later window. So we got to keep our eyes and ears close to the ground as far as the latest reports and updates about Deontay's injury designation and injury status. If he is expected to play, I am rolling the dice and playing Deontay because Addison plays in the 1 o'clock East window and Deontay plays in the 4 o'clock window. So if you wait on Deontay and he's ruled out, obviously you're not going to have Addison available to you. I am willing to wait on Deontay if we don't get any new updates before the 4 p.m. kickoffs. If we get news that there's optimism that Deontay will play, I'm firing up Deontay. If we get the news prior to the 1 p.m. kickoffs that there is pessimism about Deontay and he's not expected to play, then you play Addison. If you don't play Addison and you wait on Deontay and Deontay is ultimately ruled out, then we need a backup plan for Deontay. So I don't know who your 4th option might be, but just have somebody else stashed that's playing in the 4 p.m. window, Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, so that you at least have a fallback option if you go with Deontay and he ultimately can't go. But Deontay's that dude. He's been a wide receiver 1 3 out of the past 4 weeks. I want to wait on him. I want to wait on him. All right. I lost my spot. No, I didn't. I got it. I already got this question. Yeah. Love and Dobbs. Stack your Packers. I got David's question. My connection is unstable. Hopefully this holds up. I see a few more questions in the chat, and I will get to them. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through this. Hopefully connection issues haven't been a problem. I have seen the icon pop up a couple of times that the connection is unstable, even though my router is literally right behind my laptop. So hopefully no issues as I work through these last few questions. Although if any more questions pop up in the chat, I'm happy to take them for as long as you guys need me. I probably won't be live tomorrow because there is a for the third straight week, there is a London game. I do typically stream on Sunday mornings, but with the London game, I keep that spot open so that you guys can watch the game. And I can make myself available in Discord. If you're not in Discord and you're interested, second link in the description of this live stream and all the videos and streams on my channel. It's an evergreen free invite. You can crowdsource from the community over there. I will prioritize member questions over there, but I can try to make myself available for everybody else as well, especially on Sundays leading up to kickoff. Would I start Debo or J.K. Dobbins in full PPR? Dude, man. we got to talk to your guys' commissioners, and we got to talk to your guys' commissioners so we can expand these starting lineups so you can play all these really good players. I don't want to sit either one of these dudes. I'll say Dobbins is your floor play and Debo is your ceiling play. If you're a favorite and you're feeling good about your prospects, Dobbins. If you think you need to be more aggressive as an underdog, then I would play Debo. But I want to play both. I want to play both. I don't want to sit either one of these two. Dobbins floor, Debo ceiling. Dobbins floor, Debo ceiling. Depends on what you need. That sucks that you have to make that choice, though. Start 2 in half PPR. Mostert, Algier, Tracy, Bateman, or drop 1 for some of those running backs. Okay. In half PPR, man, this connection issue keeps coming up. I hope that I've been able to hold up for you guys throughout most of this time, and there haven't been any connection issues. But if you have any problems, let them know. If my stream craps out, and I really hope it doesn't, if the stream craps out, because I am getting the connection signal, and I don't get to your question, ask your question in the form of a comment on this stream at any point between now and kickoff, and I will answer it. I will type out my answer. I'll give you my full thoughts. Hopefully we hold out until then. Mostert, Algier, both backups. I don't really want to play those guys. Bateman in half PPR I'm not super into. Tyrone Tracy is interesting. I think I would drop, and I don't know, is Aaron Jones going to play? What is Aaron Jones' status? I need to look this up. Questionable for week 7. But it's a brutal matchup against the Lions. I would drop one of these guys. I would probably drop Mostert and pick up Sermon. Because Sermon's going to get the start tomorrow. Good matchup against the Dolphins. Richardson being back helps the backfield. Sermon's not good. Let me make that very clear. Trey Sermon is not good. Tyler Goodson is a better football player. But I think Sermon will get the running back opportunities like the first and second down carries and the goal line work. And in this matchup, the Tua-less Dolphins as their matchup at home, I think Sermon can come through with a floor play. I would drop one of those guys for Sermon. Now, if you have Achane, then don't drop Mostert. If you have Bijan, don't drop Algier. If your wide receiver core is solid, I would probably drop Bateman. I would drop one of those guys for Sermon. I do not think Trey Sermon is good, but I think he can give you an RB2 floor play tomorrow. Yeah. So, depending on your situation, drop one of those guys and pick up Sermon. That's what I would do. Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Chase Brown, half PPR. These are 4 good options. I like Jacobs' matchup against the Texans. I like Evans' matchup against the Ravens. I don't like Adams' matchup against the Steelers, but he's reunited with Rodgers, so you know that they're gonna probably force the issue tomorrow to him. And then Chase Brown, I mean, that matchup's a little tougher against Cleveland, but we are expecting him to operate as the lead back. It's not a bad matchup. It's not the best matchup, but it's not a bad one. I will play Josh Jacobs at home. What the hell has Jacobs been doing recently? He's been like okay, not great. Yeah. In half PPR scoring, 11, 13, 5 week 3 in a bad matchup, not good. 9.8, so almost 10, 15.9, 10.5. Give me Jacobs. Give me Evans. Give me Jacobs. Give me Evans. Because Evans is in a great matchup. And he's removed from the injury report. If he was on the injury report, I would probably say Adams. But because he was removed from the injury report, I'll say Evans. Give me Jacobs. Give me Evans. I do think that the Jets will force the issue throwing the ball to Devontae Adams now that him and Rodgers are reunited. But it is his first game with the team. He hasn't played for a few weeks, and it's not a good matchup on paper against Pittsburgh. Chase Brown is really good too, but I got to play Jacobs and Evans ahead of him. Yeah. Jacobs, Evans. Oh, you have Love. This is the trade where you are trading Jaden Daniels and acquiring Kyler and CD and all that stuff. Okay, yeah. I mean, I said make the move before. I feel even better about. Could you I don't know if you're still in here, Josiah, or if you haven't made the trade yet, could you take Kyler out of the trade and get another wide receiver or even running back in return? Or do you have to take Kyler back in the deal? If you already did the trade, or if the trade is contingent on you having to take Kyler back in the deal, then fine. But since you already have Love, I would encourage you to keep Kyler out of that deal if you can and pick up another receiver or running back in the trade. If the trade's already done, I'm fine with it, but just throwing that out there. Because I would play Love over Kyler for sure. Yeah, Dell versus Devonta is tough. You should be able to play both of those guys. You got Lamb for Bijan. Nice. Like that acquisition. Bijan's is supposed to be an RB1, and he was last week. I think he was the RB4. 2 touchdowns against the Panthers. That'll do. But he's been an RB2 4 of his 6 games. CeeDee Lamb, even though he hasn't been playing up to his standard, is still a wide receiver 1 on the season, and after this week, he's passed his bye. I feel, yeah, I like that trade. I like getting CeeDee for Bijan, 100%. Pollard is on waivers. Okay, so this is maybe a shallower league, which is fine. But that makes it a little bit more difficult to make these lineup decisions. No, I would keep those 3 dudes in. Bijan, Chuba, Dobbins are all, to me, top. They're top. At running back, at just running back, I mean, they're probably all top 8 options. Pollard's right there, but I can't take him out. I can't take any other one of those names out of the lineup for him. You're 2 and 4 in redraft. Okay, so we're looking for some momentum to stop the bleeding a little bit. Got it. Daniels, no improvement needed there. Bigsby, Chase Brown. We need running backs. You have Metcalf, you have Flowers, you have McConkey, Demario Douglas, you have Tucker Kraft and Ferguson. We need running backs. You need to take one of those tight ends. I would probably try to keep Ferguson. Although Ferguson's on his bye this week, so you can't trade Kraft yet. And I don't know if you have time between now and kickoff to make a move. We need running backs. I would offer, what is Puka's timeline? This is going to sting. This is going to hurt. I'm going to tell you to dangle Puka. Because you're 2 and 4, and we're not 100% sure when Puka's going to come back. He's not helping you. Go to the top teams in your league, anybody who's 5-1, 4-2, I don't know if there's a 6-0 team in your league. I guess good for them if they are. Go to the guys or guys and gals at the top of your league, whoever's at the top of the standings, and dangle Puka as a end of season stash for their playoff run, and get a running back that can help you now. Get a running back that can help you now. Because Chase Brown, solid player. I don't know if we can rely on him as a weekly starter rest of season. Same with Tank Bigsby. Is Travis Etienne going to stay involved? Is Zach Moss going to stay involved? It's a backfield. Running backs stay involved in committees, and these guys are in committees. Rachaad White can't be trusted. It's like Rachaad White, Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, three-headed monster. No thanks. I would dangle Puka. And if you don't want to give up Puka, then I would maybe dangle somebody like Zay Flowers and get a running back. Go to the if you offer Flowers, then you can communicate with anybody. But if you dangle Puka, then that would be to the top players in the league at the top of the standings who are looking to set their roster for their playoff run. Puka might be an enticing stash for them, and you might be able to get an RB2 that can help you now. That can help you string together some wins now. Puka doesn't help you if you're 2-6, right? If you lose a couple more games and Puka comes back and it's week 9 or week 10 and maybe he's a little rusty, and even if he's in your starting lineup, he's maybe not giving you what we expect. We know we drafted Puka to be a wide receiver 1, but it hasn't materialized, obviously. I would dangle Puka. I would dangle Puka to one of the top teams in your league and see if you can get a good running back. Don't settle. Get a good running back from one of the top teams in the league who might be willing to take a shot on Puka as a stash for their playoff run. But he's not helping you at 2-4. I would also you could throw Kraft in there and then pick up another tight end that you could stream for this week, and then you can drop that tight end next week when Ferguson is past his bye week. Add Kraft to that mix. We need some running back help on this team. Don't trade Jaden Daniels. He's your dog at quarterback. He's your guy. Move forward. We need some running back help. And you can even include one of these depth running backs that you have for an even stronger starting running back in a return. Some combination of Puka and Kraft, and you're probably not going to get anything for Rashad, but like Braylon Allen, Ty Chandler, one of these depth running backs. You have Taylor as well, who is not helping you either. Take these injured guys and dangle them as bait to the guys at the top of your standings and try to get an RB2, a wide receiver 2, some combination of the two. Guys that can help you now. Guys that can help you win tomorrow, week 8, and week 9. Because we don't want the season to get away from you, but if you're 2-6, your wiggle room is 0. You pretty much need to win out from that point, in all likelihood. And that's not the situation we want to be in. That's not the situation we want to be in. What's up, Crumply Heads? Good to see you. Is the Wi-Fi crap? I've been a little concerned about the Wi-Fi. I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm sitting right next to my router. Again, if the stream craps out and you don't get your question answered, leave it in the form of a comment on this stream. I will leave it open for comments, and I will answer it, by typing it out. But I'm planning to get to everybody. Sorry if it's been a laggy situation. Bench one. Wilson, Adams, Neighbors, Deontay. I guess Wilson. Damn, the Wi-Fi is shoddy right now. Let me see what this looks like on my end. Hopefully it's not lagging. I would bench Wilson here. Because Adams is Rodgers' guy. Neighbors is a stud. Deontay, if Deontay's out, then you can fire up all three of the other guys who are in. But I want to play Deontay if he's healthy. I would bench Wilson until we see what this pecking order looks like now that Adams is in the mix for the Jets. But Adams is Rodgers' dude, dating back to their time in Green Bay. I would bench Wilson of this group. I would play Neighbors. I would play Deontay if he's healthy, and I would play Davante Adams. Adams is dicey. He hasn't played for a couple of weeks, but between Adams and Garrett Wilson, I think I do prefer Davante Adams based on their, the connection that he has with Rodgers dating back to their time in Green Bay. It's all good? Okay, sounds good. Hopefully it holds up. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through all these questions. Let's see. Cooper Kupp is a true game time decision is the last that I saw. So I have no idea if he's going to play or not. You have Adams as your 1. You have Mooney as your 2. That's fine for now. The problem is, okay. I would play Mooney. Here's what I would do. I would play Mooney in a good matchup against Seattle. I would plan to play Cooper Kupp if he's active over Davante Adams. I would play Kupp over Adams. And if Kupp is out, Adams plays on Sunday night, so you can swap him in. Kupp plays in the late window. Adams plays on Sunday Night Football. You can swap Adams in for Kupp if Kupp is out. I would play Mooney and I would play Kupp. And if Kupp is out, I would play Adams. I would not play Pickens. Pickens' quarterback situation is crap. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. As far as Rodgers versus Murray, I'm so blah on Kyler Murray right now. He's been so boring. I would play Kyler. Obviously, Rodgers gets a boost. If you play Adams, if Kupp is out, here's what I'm doing. Play Mooney. Play Kupp. If Kupp plays, play Kyler. If Kupp is out, then you can swap Adams in as a wide receiver 2, and then you could put Rodgers in if you want, although it is a bad matchup, but you would be able to build the stack. The problem with Rodgers is there's not a lot of upside there. That could change now that he gets to throw the ball to Adams and Wilson. But I'm a little bit more intrigued by Aaron Rodgers if you end up playing Davante Adams because Kupp doesn't play. If Kupp plays, I'm playing Kupp and Murray. If Kupp is out, I don't mind your jet stack of Rodgers and Adams, even in a bad matchup. That's how I would play it. I wasn't going to stream tomorrow. I could fire off maybe a 15, 20-minute halftime chat. If anybody would like that, if anybody wants to, hang out in the morning, I could do that. Make a little bit of time. Yeah, I can do that. Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins? I'll probably play Purdy, I think. Purdy's just been flat out playing well. Revenge game for the 49ers against the Chiefs, trying to avenge that Super Bowl loss. Not that a regular season win usurps a Super Bowl win, but you get my point. I mean, Purdy's just been playing well. Cousins has been kind of I like Cousins' matchup tomorrow. I think he'll be fine. But I mean, Purdy, since the first game of the season, has been the QB 13, the QB 5, the QB 14, the QB 17. Last week he was the QB 6. This is not a good matchup by the numbers. But he's got a healthy Debo, a healthy Brandon Ayuk, and a healthy George Kittle. I'll take Purdy. And he's just playing well. Purdy's just playing well right now. And he's running more. He's running more this year than he was last year. I'll play Purdy over Cousins. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. And I think it's Crumply Heads you as well. Seeing a lot of my members today. That's really nice. Good to see everybody. Hopefully everyone's having a good Saturday. We got Georgia, Texas coming up in like 15 minutes for my college football fans. That should be a hell of a game. Let me get to Greg's question real quick. I see the other questions. Sean and Nick, sit tight. I got to get to my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get your questions answered when they are asked. But I will get to everybody else's questions. Appreciate your patience. Evans is not going to be out, Greg. I don't know if you saw the latest update, but Evans was removed from the injury report. So while I don't hate Cade Otton as a stream tomorrow, but I'm gonna play Ertz over him. Yeah. Evans was removed from the injury report. No concerns for his availability Monday night. I will play Ertz over Cade Otton. Against Carolina, I'll play Zach Ertz. Give me old man Ertz. Should have a decent day. So you're good. You're good to leave Ertz in. Yep. Rough spot this week. Okay. Madison, D'Ernest Johnson, or Cade Otton. Let's see. Travis Etienne is on the injury report. Zamir White is also on the injury report. What is Zamir White's likelihood to play tomorrow? Practice is fully listed as questionable. He also just flat out hasn't been good. But he's trending in the right direction. Etienne, on the other hand, with the hamstring injury, has been practicing this week. Think he's progressing. Haven't made a decision yet. So we will know the situation with the Jaguars backfield early tomorrow because they're the London game. If Etienne is out, I might try D'Ernest Johnson in a good matchup against New England. He'll split work with Tank Bigsby. Bigsby will be the 1A, but D'Ernest Johnson should probably mix in. If Travis Etienne is active, then I'll play Madison. And Madison gets the Rams. That's a great matchup by the numbers. That's a great matchup. I might just go Madison in general. Even if Zamir White plays tomorrow, Zamir White is not it. Zamir White stinks. If I might just say Madison. If Etienne is out, D'Ernest Johnson. If Etienne is active, which would be a bit of a surprise, then I'm okay with going with Madison. So it depends on the availability of Travis Etienne. Etienne out, D'Ernest Johnson. Etienne active, Alexander Madison. I like Cade Otton tomorrow. I just don't want to play two tight ends. Or Monday night. I just don't want to play two tight ends. And if he's in your flex, that means you have another already more reliable option at tight end. I just don't want to play two tight ends. It's too dicey. Do you roll with Aaron Jones? Yeah, you roll with Aaron Jones because I don't trust Josh Downs, Michael Pittman just yet. until we see how they do with Anthony Richardson. We have not seen that trio play together yet this year. So let's see how that goes. I would play Aaron Jones if he's active, Greg. I would play Aaron Jones. Even in a bad matchup, Aaron Jones is that dude, if healthy. If he's out, you can roll with if Jones doesn't play, then I guess I would roll with would I roll with Pittman over Downs? I might roll with Downs. Downs might be the team's wide receiver 1. If Jones doesn't play, Greg, I will pivot to Downs, even though I don't feel super confident about that. Come on, Anthony Richardson. Show some progress tomorrow. Let's see. Tank Bigsby or Chase Brown? Did they elevate a practice squad back? That would be good to know. So if ETN is out, then it's Tank. If ETN is out, then it's Tank. If ETN is active, which would be a surprise, then I would pivot to Chase Brown. But I'll play Tank if we think he's going to be the 1A, and he should be if ETN is out. And it's a good matchup. Chase Brown has a slightly tougher matchup, and while he may operate as the lead guy, Zach Moss is not going to – he's going to play in some capacity. Yeah. Bigsby if ETN is out, Chase Brown if ETN is active. And you will know that because the Jags play in the London game tomorrow. You'll know it early. Let's see. I got Greg's questions. Thanks again, Greg. Worthy, Downs, Juju, pick 2. I don't like Juju tomorrow because he picked up the hamstring injury in practice. I'm worried about Juju. The midweek hamstring injury, I know he's going to play. Maybe it's mild. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. I'd rather not mess with it. I'll take Worthy and I'll take Downs. Well, if Downs is out, then you probably have no choice and you have to pivot to Juju. But if Downs is active tomorrow, I would play Worthy and Downs. So Worthy for sure, Downs if he's active, and then you can play Juju, I guess, if Downs is out. But I don't feel super strongly about Juju with the midweek hamstring injury. And then between Bigsby, Tracy, or Mostert, I would probably just play Bigsby even if ETN is active. Because we know Devin Singletary will be active for the Giants, so I'm not sure what that looks like for Tracy. And Mostert is a little less viable with Devon Achane back. I'll play Bigsby. I'll play Bigsby. All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. I think I got all the questions so far. I think I have reached the end of the chat. But I'm happy to take to finish off some more questions as needed. Yeah, Greg. I guess I don't really want to play Chandler because it's a bad matchup. I trust Aaron Jones because he's a good football player. Chandler's solid, but he's a backup for a reason. I don't feel as good about him in a bad matchup. If Jones can't go, yeah, you could play Algier over Downs, but if Downs is active, I'd rather play Downs. If Downs is out, then you can grab Algier, Greg. But I would need Downs to be out for that to happen. And Aaron Jones. You were gonna start. You were gonna keep Walker in your lineup. Keep Kenneth Walker in your lineup. You can play. Here's what you do. If ETN is active, your question is very similar to who had the question about Tank and Chase Brown? Nick M above. Your question is similar to that one. You're leaving Kenneth Walker in your lineup, and we are gonna roll the dice because it's Kenneth freaking Walker. If he's out, we'll deal with that when it's definitive. But as of right now, he stays in your lineup. If ETN is out tomorrow, then play Bigsby and Walker. If ETN is active, then play Chase Brown and Walker. And if Walker is out, we'll deal with that when we got to deal with it. I don't know who your backup alternate options are other than those names. But we are waiting on Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker is that dude. So, yeah, just to recap. If ETN is out, Bigsby and Walker. If ETN is active, Brown and Walker. If Walker is out, Brown and some other option. Whether it's Charbonnet if he's available or if you have him or somebody else on your bench, we wait on Kenneth Walker because he's that dude. I was not planning on being at the expo, but I know it's a very popular gathering over the course of the off season. Kincaid or Cade Otton? Kincaid. I know that Kincaid has been, kind of difficult to trust this year, and now Amari Cooper's in the mix. But on one hand, this should free everybody else up. Otton, on the other hand, has a good matchup by the numbers, but with Evans confirmed in the mix, he's a little more difficult to trust. I'll play Kincaid for one more week because Amari Cooper might not see a full allotment of snaps. So I'll go Kincaid. Cooper might not see the full allotment of snaps. Mike Evans was removed from the injury report, so we don't have any concerns about his availability to play. Yeah, Kincaid. I don't have a ton of confidence in it, but I'll say Kincaid. Do you pick up Leggett if Deontay doesn't play? You would have to. Don't drop Ferguson. Trade Ferguson. Or trade Kelsey. Trade one of those two tight ends. Trade one of the. You only need one. Trade one of those two tight ends. I would not drop Ferguson. No, he's too good. He's too good to drop. Trade one of those two. Seriously, I don't care. I like trade one and move forward with the other. One quarterback leagues and tight ends in general, I only like having one. I will deal with the issue of an injury or a bye week when I have to. I don't like rostering the onesie positions, so to speak. So tight end and quarterback in one quarterback leagues. I want one, and that's it. Trade one of those two. Kelsey, you could probably get a lot for. Ferguson, you should be able to get a lot for as well. I would trade one of those two before you don't drop. Somebody in your league needs a tight end. I know that because everybody needs a tight end. Unless you have Bowers, Kittle, Kelsey, you know, the whole list. Trade one of those two for a wide receiver or a running back. Trade one of those two. Yeah, trade one of those tight ends. If you've got two good quarterbacks in a one quarterback league, trade them. Trade one. If you've got two good tight ends, trade one. Get running. I'd rather have an RB5 than a good tight end 2. I'd rather have a wide receiver 4 than a good tight end 2. Always, always, always. What you got, Greg? Nah, we're moving forward with Pittsburgh, and we're not. Yes, I hear your concerns, but Pittsburgh's defense is too good. And the Jets' offense is, you know, they have really good individual pieces, but Pittsburgh's at home. And a 40-year-old Rodgers doesn't scare me the way that a 30-year-old Rodgers would. I would not move off of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unless you have the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings, and or if you streamed Denver on Thursday, which I'm sure you didn't because you're asking the defense question, then no, you're sticking with Pittsburgh. They're good. They are awesome. They're at home. They're playing a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers who is breaking in, and Devontae Adams. They have the connection, obviously, but it's been a couple of years. First game in a couple of weeks for Adams. I'll take my chances with the Steelers. I know that the Steelers offense, yes, I understand what you're saying. Steelers offense, if they turn the ball over or if they're not driving well, they don't sustain drives, they're creating short fields for the defense. I get all that. Pittsburgh's defense is one that I believe in. Pittsburgh's defense is one that I believe in. You stick with them, and you stick with them, and that's that. New question. You have to sit one of your flex. Okay. Madison, Johnson, Palmer, Otten. I just don't want to play. I'd rather play these ragtag running backs and see if they can get some decent production than a second tight end. I don't want to play 2 tight ends. Not today, not next week, not ever. I want to pick 1 tight end and stick with it. Because they're so volatile. They're so unpredictable. They're so difficult to trust. I'll sit Otten. Not that Palmer instills a ton of confidence, but he'll presumably get a few more opportunities with Quentin Johnston doubtful. And it's a good matchup by the numbers. Yeah. Sit Otten. I don't want to play 2 tight ends ever. If I have 2 tight ends, I want to trade one before I want to play a second one, even if it's for peanuts. We can tilt on Evan Ingram. Yeah, I will definitely be on the tilting team tomorrow. Bigsby or Mason this week? Mason. Let's play Bigsby's solid, but Jordan Mason has been an RB1 this year. I know it's not a good matchup, but he's off the injury report. He's attached to a good offense. Mason. We're playing Mason. As far as Bengals versus Philly, I don't trust the Eagles defense, even if it looks like a good matchup on paper. I'll play Cincinnati. You know who I trust more? Who's probably available? Philly's opponent, the New York Giants. They lead the league in sacks. I trust them over any of the of either of those options. Cincinnati is they're a trendy streamer because they're playing Cleveland, and Cleveland's offense is terrible, and they just traded Amari Cooper. I get all that. The Bengals' defense stinks. They're not good. Yes, bad defenses come through in favorable matchups. That happens. I just don't like betting on it. I'd rather bet on a unit that I have like a little bit more confidence in, regardless of the matchup. The Giants are probably available in your league. They lead the NFL in sacks, and the Eagles are without Jordan Mailata, their starting left tackle, tomorrow. That's who I'd rather play as my streaming defense. I don't want to play the Eagles. And I really don't want to play the Bengals just because they're playing Cleveland. It's a division game on the road. I know Deshaun Watson sucks. I know Amari Cooper's not there anymore. I'm not chasing the Bengals. They might do well tomorrow. It's a good matchup. But they stink. They're not good either. The Bengals defense is like they're not as bad as the Browns offense, but they're not good. They're not good. I'd rather play the Giants defense. They lead the NFL in sacks, and the Eagles are without their starting left tackle tomorrow. And I bet they're available. Thanks for joining and thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. Ramondre, JMO, or Chase Brown in half PPR. Chase Brown. Chase Brown. I think he's going to get the yeoman's share of opportunities over Zach Moss tomorrow. He's found the end zone 2 of the past 3 games. Actually, 3 straight games. Chase Brown has scored. Played a season high in snaps last week, 62%. He has 3 targets in each of the past 4 games and 5 of the 6 games that he's played this year. JMO is a moonshot ceiling play, and I like JMO a lot, but I'll take Chase Brown in half PPR. I'll take Chase Brown. Give me Chase Brown. PPR flex. JMO, you have Amon-Ra, Christian Watson, Tyler Lockett, Demario Douglas. JMO, he's been making big plays all year. And I like Demario Douglas's spot tomorrow. Great matchup against Jacksonville. Drake May breathed some life into this offense last week. All good stuff. All good news for Demario Douglas. And he's been playing well recently. JMO's a big play waiting to happen on any given play. I'll take JMO. And they're going to have to throw the Lions. This is a tough division matchup. And they might have a difficult time running the ball tomorrow against the Vikings. Vikings have a good defense. I'll take JMO. Yeah. And he's an exciting, again, to that point, he's an exciting player. Like, JMO is an exciting player. Like, you know what he's capable of. And like when he catches that 40-yard bomb for a score, like there's no better feeling than watching your guys making big plays. And JMO makes big plays. JMO. Even though you have Amon-Ra, still JMO. In PPR, Brian Thomas or Ramondre Stevenson. You will know if Ramondre is healthy coming into the game, which is good. I would play Brian Thomas. He's good. He's their wide receiver 1. He doesn't get cannibalized by Evan Ingram. That's Christian Kirk's problem, not Evan Ingram. He just missed a long catch for a score. Trevor Lawrence underthrew him last week. Could course correct. And Ramondre has missed practice. Like, even if he plays, is he splitting work with Antonio Gibson? Does he only get you 7 or 8 PPR points because he's in a committee, because he's like less than 100%? I'll take Brian Thomas, who I know will be on the field every play. Thomas. He might have to deal with Christian Gonzalez, but Christian Gonzalez is still like, some weeks he's a shutdown corner. Other times you can get him. I'll take Brian Thomas. Let's see. Mike Evans and Taylor for CeeDee. I'd rather have CeeDee than Evans 1-for-1, I guess. Adding Taylor to the trade, although he's hurt now, could pay dividends in the second half of the season. Although high ankle sprains are tough to come back from and they can linger. I am okay with trading for CeeDee, but I would want to get a depth running back in return if I'm giving up Evans and Taylor. If you're acquiring Evans and Taylor, yeah, see, Taylor is so volatile right now. I have some pause. If I'm moving off of him, I feel okay about it, but obviously we know what he can bring to the table when healthy. Question is, we don't know when he's going to be healthy. CeeDee for Evans 1-for-1. I'd rather have CeeDee. I guess Taylor added to the mix tips the scales to Evans and Taylor. If it's 2-for-1, if this trade goes through, I would prefer the Evans and Taylor side as long as my running back depth is strong. I need good run. I need to be two strong top 15 running backs, and then maybe another really good depth player at as an RB3 to feel good about bringing on Taylor and Evans in exchange for CeeDee. I will give the nod to the Evans and Taylor side as long as my running back depth is strong. Because if Taylor isn't right rest of the season, at least I have other good running backs to hang my hat on. But I took a chance. I swung for the fences. If it doesn't hit, then it doesn't hit. Not every trade works out. Not every injury is one that guys effectively come back from. If you're willing to take the risk, I'm fine with that. I will take the Evans and Taylor side if my running back depth is good. If that makes sense. Do you wait for Kupp or play Bigsby in the flex? We are waiting on Cooper Kupp. We are waiting on Cooper Kupp. And I know he plays in the 4 o'clock window, which sucks. But he's the type of dude that you wait on and you play if he goes. So you wait on Kupp and you pick up somebody else that plays in the 4 o'clock window or Sunday Night Football or the Monday night doubleheader. Again, remember, there are 2 Monday Night Football games this week. You wait on Cooper Kupp. He's that dude. You hold out and hope that he plays, and if he doesn't, we'll find a pivot in the late window or Sunday or Monday night. We got to wait on Cooper Kupp, though. Even if it means sandbagging Tank Bigsby or, benching Tank Bigsby, you do it. You wait on Cooper Kupp. You put him in the flex, and and you find another alternative if he doesn't go. Okay, I like this more. If you are acquiring CD Lamb and Chase Brown for yes, I like that a lot more. Then now I'm smashing accept to acquire the CD side. Yes, I like that a lot more for you. I like that a lot more for you. That is better. 100% if you can make that happen. 100% if you can make that happen, I'll take the CD and Chase Brown side. Yes, Chase Brown works in that trade. 100%. If you can make that happen, I'm good with it. If you can make that happen, I'm good with it. Yeah. Good with Evans. Good with Evans and JT to acquire Lamb and Chase Brown. Yes, make that happen. And I would start Sermon over Goodson. I think Sermon is a volume-based, boring RB2. I think Goodson has PPR upside RB3 appeal. But I would play Sermon. It's a good matchup against the Miami Dolphins. I think they gave up like 125 yards on the ground per game. Richardson is back. That should help the offense. That should help the backfield specifically. And it's a Tua-less Miami Dolphins team. I would think the Colts are playing with a lead. And if they're playing with a lead, Sermon's going to get carries. Going to get goal line work, all that good stuff. I slightly lean Sermon. Sermon stinks. He's not good, but he will get volume as the runner in a matchup where I think the Colts will run the ball. So I'll take Sermon. All right, guys. We're at the end of the chat. I don't have any other questions here, so I do think I'll be shutting this down shortly, but appreciate everybody's time, patience as I work through all the questions. Special shout out to my members that I saw. Derek, Nino, David, Jake, Greg, Crumply Heads. Good to see all you guys. He Hate Me came in as well. Nick, welcome on as a new member. Appreciate it. And then all the supers. I got a lot of generous folks today. Don, Mateo, Don Mateo. He Hate Me sent one as well. And Tyler, thank you guys so much for the supers. Very kind of you to support the channel. Much appreciated. I will try to fire up a quick stream tomorrow, maybe like a 15-20 minute halftime chat. I'll go live for a short amount during the London game tomorrow. If anybody wants to hang out, if you need any reassurance on any last minute thoughts on your start sit questions, I can hang out for a small amount of time tomorrow. So try to catch me during halftime. Maybe I'll fire it up on I just might fire it up on mobile, just nice and quick. But that'll do it for me tonight. Thank you guys so much again for the time, the patience, for subscribing and for liking the stream. That helps me for algorithm purposes. If I don't see y'all tomorrow, best of luck in your Week 7 matchups. Let's get these wins. I will be back for a full stream on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for waiver wire help ahead of Week 8. And taking any questions that you guys may have then as well, waivers or trades or whatever have you. But that'll do it for me tonight. Thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy your Saturdays.